Showtime!
Welcome everyone to the Rosie and Bill Show. The list of country music stars from the great state of Kentucky is as impressive as it is long. From Loretta Lynn, Patty Loveless, John Michael Montgomery, his brother Eddie Montgomery, and to the late great Troy Gentry, to Chris Stapleton. I could go on and on for days, but rather than do that, I'd rather just add one more name to the list, and that name is Taylor Hughes. I would describe Taylor's music as KAC, kick-ass country. And we are thrilled to have Taylor as our guest this week on the Rosie and Bill Show. Taylor, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, so are we. And I mean, we've listened to your music and wow, you have such a cool tone to your voice. It's very unique. And I want to start by asking you, you've been singing for years and writing songs for years. When did you first realize that you had a propensity for this? Like, were you the kind of kid that was entering in talent shows in your elementary school or high school?
I've known I could sing, or I guess known I could sing and wanted to perform ever since I was a little girl. We have like home videos of me singing in like our preschool shows. There's this one video of me that I push everyone out of the way and I step to the front. And I'm like in preschool, so there's no way that like my singing is any good right now. But like I've always wanted to do talent shows and stuff, and I was always in choir growing up, but no one actually took it seriously, I guess, or really had ever really heard me, because I always sang with like groups of people. Like in high school, you're either a band kid or you're a choir kid. I was a choir kid. So I always joke around with my dad, because my parents didn't know that I really could sing till I was probably like 17 or 18. And my dad's like, well, I was in choir. And I'm like, that doesn't mean you can sing, Dad. Because my dad doesn't have a musical bone in his body. My mom can. So that's kind of where I got it from. But, I always loved performing and singing for my friends and putting on shows and like making little videos and stuff. So I guess for me, I always knew, but it was just quite a surprise to everyone else once I really started doing this.
When did you start doing it professionally? Like, did you form a band when you were in your teens?
No. What's funny is that I was super involved in athletics. I was a volleyball player in middle school and high school, and I played all year round. So I was very competitive and had plans to go to college on a scholarship. And I blew my knee out my junior year of high school, and that ended my career, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because that's when I started to take guitar lessons. And, I went to my dad and I was like, I'd really like to learn guitar. And he was like, well, okay, yeah, we'll go get you some lessons. Why not? Well, come to find out, we signed me up for guitar, and my teacher, who is still my teacher today, who's like family, Polly Felice, was actually someone that my dad babysat when they were young. So it was kind of full circle, but I had only had like 3 or 4 guitar lessons, and Paul was like, let's take you to Nashville. They've got a TV Comcast down there. We'll get you on stage, not to play guitar, but to sing, because he was listening to me sing while we were in lessons. And, he went to my parents with me and told them, they were like, there's no way she knows how to play. She like can't know more than 5 chords. And he was like, no, Taylor sings. You all don't know that? And they were like, no, we've never heard her. So I guess you could say I started professionally when I was about 18, because that was when I first came down to Nashville, and the first venue I ever sang at was the Nashville Palace, which is still a super popular place. And I got on stage. I'd never sang on my own. I was just singing to like a track, because obviously I didn't know how to play a guitar yet. And everyone really loved me, and I had so much fun. And, afterwards people were coming up to my parents and they were like, "Oh, she's great. Please bring her back." And they were like, "Oh, thanks." And afterwards they were like, "Are you lip singing?" And I was like, "No, this is me." So that's kind of how it all got started. And I started, every few months, I'd come down here and play for the TV Comcast, and I'd have my lessons with my teacher, and I'd sing around at like, bars and restaurants back at home. But it's just kind of funny that no one really knew. And my guitar teacher is the one that's like, "Yep, here we go. Put you on stage."
Best kept secret ever.
Well, I'd like to think so.
Now, Taylor, as in those early stages of your career, did you have any particular musical influences? I kicked off the show with all of the greats that have come from Kentucky, but your music is really kind of a blend of a lot of different genres. So I'm curious as to, where and who those influences were.
Yeah, growing up, we always had country music playing in the house, but we also had a lot of Southern rock. And, my dad always jokes around, he had Molly Hatchet and Leonard Skinner playing, but we also had blues occasionally playing. I remember my dad would just blare the speakers throughout the house, like the surround sound. And on the weekends, he'd cook pancakes and we'd have music playing and stuff. But, I grew up on Tim McGraw and Faith Hill and Kenny Chesney. So I've always had a huge love for just country music. But like you said, I've got quite a mix of stuff. So, I love Leonard Skinner. One of the first songs I ever learned to play, and I still play it, it's requested at every show I play, is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. And then I've had quite a few people compare my vocals or, my sound to Susan Tedeschi, who's, I don't know if you know who she is, but God, she's an amazing blues artist and from Tedeschi Trucks. And I feel like as I've gotten older, not only has my style changed a little bit and developed more, because, you learn who you are as you do this for years and years. And what's funny is when I first started, I was like a soprano 1, like very high. I would not touch those low notes. And then I got bronchitis really bad when I was like 20. And I was sick for a little while, and then my voice just dropped. And it never went back the same way, and it's almost like another thing, like a blessing in disguise, because my sound is very different from everybody else. And it's weird to think that just like getting bronchitis one time is kind of what changed my tone and like, my vocal range and whatnot.
Yeah, but you just went with it. I mean, like you said, it's like all the different things that have happened to you is more proof that everything happens for a reason.
Oh, absolutely. That is like one of the biggest things I believe in, is that, even, at a certain time in your life, if you don't understand, like there is a reason for it. And I've just roll with the punches, that's kind of how I was raised. And, just got to adapt to whatever life throws at you.
Well, speaking of adapting, one thing I'm curious about is you had a heck of a run in Kentucky with all kinds of nominations and awards in the Lexington area and throughout the state. And then you made that Nashville. What was that transition like for you? Was it intimidating? Like, how did you get the courage to make the move, and how difficult was it to adjust?
Nashville is always somewhere I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to live here for years and years. And I had plans of, I always planned to move down here. And obviously you kind of start your career where you're from. And I had so much hometown support in Lexington. It's not that small of a city, but the music community is pretty small, but it's very close, and we're always cheering each other on. So to have that support is always, so awesome to know. And especially like when I moved down here, I was like, well, are people going to be like, "Oh, she left us," kind of thing. And like, "Oh, she's moved on." But the support that I've continued to have from my hometown has been amazing and a blessing. And, you know, when I moved down here, it was a little intimidating just because I was moving somewhere where I didn't know anybody. And which for me is very like, I don't like change. I've never been really comfortable with change. And I've always just kind of, you know, needed that extra push sometimes just to believe in myself. But when I moved down here, you know, I kind of was just like, you know what, Taylor, you got to have a different, you know, mindset. There's no one here to push you except for yourself, really. And I went out to every show I could find, and I met whoever was running it, and I'd go meet people and introduce myself, which was not like a normal thing for me. I usually am just like someone that like people watches, but you know, I kind of just threw myself out there and was like, hey, let me play. I know you don't know what I sound like, and you have no reason to think that I can do this, but like, just give me a shot. And people started letting me play, and I've met so many amazing people here. I've made so many great friendships and so many like opportunities that it really made the transition a lot better. Now there are times where I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? You know, am I doing the right thing? You know, I think most artists face that once or twice in their life, you know, trying to figure it out when they hit the struggle bus and whatnot. But I truly couldn't imagine not being here.
Well, there's something to be said for being bold and courageous, because if you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else?
Exactly. It's so true.
Now, someone else you've performed with recently, in fact, is someone who actually introduced us to you.
Yes.
Audra Mclaughlin. What is it like with the two of you powerhouses on stage?
Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I heard Audra sing. We had a mutual friend down here that that plays music too, and his name's Jeff, and he was like, you gotta meet Audra. I think you'd really like her. And I was like, who is this Audra chick? And like, we just both happened to be playing a show, the same show one night. Like, it was like a writer's round, and she was in the round before me. And I was like, oh my God, I think this is the girl Jeff was telling me about. And like, she ended up staying for my round. And we just kind of like got a girl crush on each other and became really good friends. And we write a lot together, and we have very similar taste and style. And even our vocals are unique. They both have that deeper tone than most female artists do. And these past 2 months we've been on the road, and I've never done like shows or like touring with another artist where it was kind of like a shared headlining kind of thing. And it has been just absolutely amazing. And we had such a successful time that we had more venues reaching out to us about adding them to the tour. And we're actually going to be playing some shows together again next weekend. And because it was just like a Kentucky tour. And now we're playing in different parts of Nashville, and we're going to be not Nashville, Tennessee. And we're going to be up in Indiana in May. So we're just kind of, you know, making our rounds and trying to spread out wherever we can. But really, it's been an absolute blast. I adore her. Like, she's like the Northern me is what I like to say. So, you know, it's been really good.
I can only imagine how great that show is. Maybe one of these days we can catch you guys. That would be
awesome. We would absolutely love that.
Well, folks, we are going to hear more from Taylor, but first we're going to take a quick break with the Rosie and Bill Show fitness expert, Coach Lombardi. Take it away, Coach.
Thanks, Rosie and Bill. Hey, everyone. I'm Coach Lombardi, coming to you from Los Angeles, and I have a question for you. Do you sit all day? Do you stand all day? Well, doing either of those isn't good for you, as recent studies have proven. They can cause blood pooling, stiff knees, stiff low back, and hip pain in a lot of people as well. My solution? Change your position frequently. And one way businesses are helping their employees do this is with a standing desk, which, by the way, you can also use at home. The standing desk is easy to move up and down by either a motor or a hand crank, so you can go from sitting to standing whenever you feel the need to move. Try it out and let us know what you think. Back to you, Rosie and Bill.
Thank you so much, Coach. That's great advice. I'll have to try that because boy, we all sit a lot around the computer. So that's really practical advice. I'm looking forward to trying that. And on that topic, Taylor, you have another passion besides music, and that is health and fitness. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how I got started with it. I mentioned earlier that I was a volleyball player. So I've always been into athletics and working out, but as a child, I was a chunky kid. I had an older brother and I wanted to be just like him. So basically would follow him around. If he was eating pizza, I was eating pizza, and I was bullied for it a little bit growing up, but I think we all kind of experienced that here and there. It made me tough, right? But I really started to getting into fitness and stuff in middle school when my dad signed me up for volleyball, which I did not want to do. And he was like, you're going to do this and you're going to love it. And come to find out, I did. And so I've always been like a fitness junkie. I love helping people figure out nutrition, and I make workout guides for people just as like a favor. Like I don't do it to get paid or anything like that. I just love watching people transform themselves just for the better, to live a healthy life. And speaking of like nutrition and whatnot, I love cooking, and I love finding ways to like take somewhat like unhealthy meals and make them healthy. But I am a big lover of donuts, so don't think that I don't eat them.
What's your favorite donut?
Oh man. Okay. So if you're ever in Nashville, or if you have been down here, there's a Five Daughters donut place, and they're like these big croissant donuts, and they fill them with just like all kinds of stuff. And I love anything like, oh man, chocolate. Like if there's chocolate on it, I'm eating it. And every month, like I follow them on like Instagram. So whenever they announce their new monthly flavors, I'm like, oh, Drew, he's my husband. I'm like, we have to go get donuts. And he's like, you're going to make me fat. And I'm like, well, you don't have to eat them. I'll eat them. And I don't buy just one. I buy like one of each because I don't want to miss out on a flavor. Then I eat them like throughout the week. But, it just growing up playing volleyball just really brought out the passion of fitness for me. And I work out 5 days a week. I eat pretty healthy as it is, but I do enjoy myself occasionally. And I've always wanted to have my own fitness line, kind of like Carrie Underwood, so like developing my own clothing line. And I always thought that was so cool that she was able to do that and kind of build it off of her music career. And I was like, maybe I could do that one day. So that's the hope, it's the goal.
Sure you will.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great goal to have in addition to what you're already doing. Now, Taylor, in just a couple of minutes, we're going to have a little bit of fun, or at least it'll be fun for us. I don't know about you.
Right.
But no stress or anything. But before we do that, I wanted to share kind of a musical theory that I have, and then follow that up with a question. So here's my theory. If music has a good melody, it can make you smile. Good lyrics can make you think. Good beat can make you move. When I heard your first debut single, Good Taste, it was an all of the above song for me. And you can't just sit still when that song comes on. So I couldn't help but think, like, when you're sitting down to write a song, do you come up with a chorus, a melody? How does that process work for you?
It really just depends on who I'm writing with. The process is never really the same, but for me, I've always been very strong with like melody side of stuff. Now, I've really been working on the lyric side of the music process. And, a lot of the times when I write, I told you earlier, I like to think things through, and like, I tend to be a little bit of a slower writer because I want to overthink things, and I want to make sure that like, is this the best line? Am I am I giving my audience the best lyric? Does this serve the song? And I've written with people who just spit stuff out like crazy. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. But a lot of the people that I write with, they write, and have the same mind process as I do. So like we can sit there and think about stuff and whatnot. But I have a lot of like lyricist friends that, when I'm like, hey, I've got this idea, like I'll take that to them and I'm like, this is what I'm hearing in my head. So like I've got a little bit of a melody already, and then one of us will start playing it on guitar, or we'll start spitting out lines or anything like that. But it's really different. It just depends on who I'm writing with, what the idea is.
No, that's a great point. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us. In fact, we're going to come back to songwriting in just a couple of minutes as part of that fun thing that I was talking about. But before we do that, we were wondering if you might play along with a little game we like to call rapid fire. And the way this works, now before you agree to this, let me explain to you how it works.
Oh, no.
Not that you have a choice or anything.
Right.
But the way this works is we're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions in a very short amount of time, and you're going to have even less time to answer them, or you could face the buzzer. I don't know if we have the buzzer working or not, but if it is, you'll hear it.
Right.
So are you game? Are you up for the challenge of rapid fire?
I can't say no. I think I can do it. I got this.
That's great.
Got to be confident, right?
All right.
That's right.
Well, here we go. I'm going to start with the first one, and then Rosie's going to come at you with the second one. So here we go. Your favorite whiskey, what is it?
Oh, Knob Creek.
Ooh.
Great. Favorite cover song to sing?
Simple Man by Leonard Skinner, or Tin Man by Miranda Lambert.
Name the only city in the United States built in a meteor crater.
I don't know.
It's in Kentucky.
Oh.
It's
God.
in the center. It's in the middle of a borough. Middlesboro.
No, I was about to say Middlesboro. I almost said Murfreesboro, and I was like, no, Taylor, that's in Tennessee. Don't ask me about geography, y'all. Okay?
Your favorite television show that was shot in Kentucky?
Oh, in Kentucky. It's not on anymore. But it was in Harlan County. Where is it called? Justified, I think is what it was called. I think
that was
a
trick leading question, like it's Bill's favorite show.
Yeah. I love that show. So here's a follow-up question for you. So that's a great answer, by the way, Taylor. So, because I would have answered it the same way. But here's my follow-up question. Is there a character in the history of television that's any cooler than U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens in Justified?
Ooh, Beth from Yellowstone is pretty high up there.
Ooh, oh God. You know what? You might have me on that one.
Right? Did I get you? Oh man, I'm obsessed with that show. It's so good.
What is the strangest thing you've ever written a song about?
Quarantine. I did write a song about quarantine. So we talk about, how you can't find toilet paper anywhere. All kinds of stuff. So that's
funny because it's true.
Yes, exactly.
Taylor, have you ever written a song like completely on the fly?
I've written a song in my car by myself before that took I wrote it really quickly, and it's only like a 2.5 minute song, but I did write it in the car. So I guess maybe that's kind of on the fly.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'd say so. On the fly, on the drive. And well, I've got great news. Are you ready?
No.
We're going to give you an opportunity to do it again.
Oh, goody. This is going to be a good song.
So what Rosie's going to share with you are 2 potential song titles. So we're going to give you 2 titles, and you can pick one and see if you can come up with some lyrics. But I've got a surprise for you if you can.
Okay.
And I've got a surprise for you because I've added in the 3rd title.
Oh God.
So now you have 3 to pick from. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. The first title, I'm All Out of Whiskey.
Oh, that's never a good thing.
The second, there you go. The second title, Pour Me a Cold One.
Pour me a cold one, okay.
And the third title, Warm Summer Breeze and a Lot of Mosquitoes.
Warm summer. Very intriguing. I think I'm gonna have to go with the first one.
All out of whiskey?
I'm all out of whiskey.
Okay.
You got any lines come to mind? Because if not, I think I might be able to help you out with a few.
Oh man, let's see. I'm all out of whiskey. This is gonna be one hell of a night. I usually have a stash.
And I'm looking for a
My
fight.
husband drank it last night.
That's good.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, don't you call me out.
Well, I'll tell you what, during the coach break, I jotted down a couple of lines to the first 2. I had no idea
You didn't know about the mosquito song?
No, I'm calling him out. It's not during the coach break. He's been working on this for 3 months.
Okay, that's not fair.
Okay, so let me know what you think, right? So this is my words for All Out of Whiskey, because you're right. When I get low on Buffalo Trace,
That's a good one.
it's a catastrophe in the making, potentially. And Knob Creek's really good too, by the way. Okay, ready? Here we go.
Yes.
I'm all out of whiskey and you're out of time. If you try to kiss me, you can kiss me goodbye. There ain't enough whiskey, vodka, or gin. No way to convince me to see you again. So that's All Out of Whiskey.
Oh
Now,
man.
This other one's a little more upbeat. Okay, the other one was
Oh
Pour
my
Me a
God,
Cold
that
One.
poor girl.
I know, but I love sad songs, so I'm about it.
This next one I think could be in your wheelhouse. I think this is one you should record someday.
Okay,
Pour Me a
I'm
Cold
ready.
One. So here we go. It's 110 in the shade. The work week's all but done. Baby, I just got paid. Pour me a cold one.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yay.
Feeling it. Yes. Good summertime song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Now,
I
let's
feel
hear
like-
about the
I feel like the
mosquito.
lyrics for your song for the first one could work with, mine. The whole like husband drinking all the whiskey. Like if you try
Yeah.
to kiss me.
All right, so we'll have to schedule a writing session. We'll
Yes.
schedule that for another
Do
day.
it. I'm about it.
But thank you though for playing. Bottom line is, we were just having fun. Now I wasn't quite working on it for 3 months, but maybe for a few minutes earlier today.
Right. You had one up on me.
No, but that was fun. Now, we do want to, before we close out the show, and we're going to close out the show by asking you to do us a favor. We wanted to talk about a very special song. In fact, it's your new single released in February, and it's also about whiskey.
My new single is Praying to the Whiskey. And I wrote it with my dad, who I mentioned has no musical bone in his body. But my dad is a fantastic writer. He's always been really good with words. And he went back to college it's probably been about 2 years ago. And, his teachers always told him, like, why aren't you a writer? And he was like, I don't know. Maybe I should try writing. And, him and I started writing together, and we actually have like a handful of songs that I play out all the time that people seem to love. And then when I tell them that I wrote it with my dad, they're like, what? No, not your dad doesn't write. But, that's why this song was so special, just because it was kind of like an introduction to the world that my dad is a writer as well. Music has always been like a family business for me. And, my dad's my manager. He helps me book shows. He's my bodyguard. He helps me run sound at some of my shows. And I always joke around, but it's also kind of true. Him and my mom have been the bank for my career for a while. They've been 100% in it to win it and been so supportive of me, which has been a huge blessing. But how this particular song got written, we were just kind of sitting around one day. I had just moved down here to Nashville, and I was home just for the weekend. I think I was playing some shows, and we had some time to sit down and write. And we were talking about, how we used to tailgate together and how, just all the crazy things we used to do back in college and whatnot. It kind of inspired the whole side of, partying and the drinking and the whiskey part. But we're also, my family's all Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic. And we thought it would be kind of cool to pull in both ideas in not even just like the whole drinking thing, just that, the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, that I think everyone kind of deals with, whether it's, alcohol or drugs, or maybe not even anything that kind of crazy, just trying to decide whether or not to do the right or the wrong thing. And that's how it got inspired. And he started spitting out lyrics. And like I said, he's such a clever writer. And I had this melody in my head, and it just kind of all flowed out right onto the page. And so I've been holding on to it for a while, and I've been playing it all over Nashville for 3 years. And people are like, Taylor, when are you going to release this song? I was like, eventually, and finally got it out, and it's gotten such a great response. And, I've had people that I met here 3 years ago when I first moved down that personally reached out to me, and they're like, Taylor, it was worth the wait. We've been so excited waiting for you to release this song, which means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to my dad because, we get to share this moment together. So
what a great story. And I love the title.
It's definitely not something you're probably ever going to hear anywhere else.
That's for sure. And I'll tell you, the first time I heard it, I came up with a new acronym, so I'll share this with you. Let me know what you think. See if I get this right. It's an IKACC, and that stands for Instant Kick-Ass Country Classic.
Hey, if that's what we're using to describe the song, I like it.
And again, it's another song where if it doesn't get you moving, you need to have, your blood pressure or something checked, or pulse checked. Right. Because it's going to get you moving for sure. But, Taylor, I just want to thank you for being such a good sport. We've really, really enjoyed having you on the show and playing along with all we've done. And want to also just congratulate you on what you've done and what you've done so far and what we know you will be doing in the future. So since you've been so nice to us so far, do you think you might be able to be nice just one more time and maybe close out the show with a little pray into the whiskey?
I absolutely can do that for you guys.
Thank you so much. And thanks for coming on the show. We can't wait to hear it live. And folks, thanks for tuning in. Taylor Hughes.
Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow, those four apostles shaped my soul. That's pretty rough company for a Catholic girl like me to keep, but they're alright for me. My mama would fade, she knew these things. I better die, you see, but what can I say? God made this way. Y'all better pray for me. Well, bread and the rosary, he just ain't enough for me. Baptize me in the round water, over us don't get no hotter. Devil's cut, that ain't my father. I won't quit till I hit the bottom. Sunday morning I'll be on my knees, but tonight you can find me. Pray to the whiskey. See the man behind the bar, well, he's my preacher. share, journey and grow.